Hey guys, how's it going? It's Target here. Welcome to the 2014 Stanley Cup playoff sim that I'm going to do using NHL 14. That's right, we're going to figure out who's going to win the Stanley Cup based on EA NHL 14 simulation of the actual players and the games that are going to be played, and see exactly who's going to come out on top. So, just to let you guys know about what I did behind the scenes to make this run a little bit smoother. Number one, I set all the teams in their right position. So you see Colorado's playing Minnesota, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Now, the other thing I also did was I adjusted all the lines. Every single line for every single team has been changed to reflect their actual NHL current lineups. That includes all injuries, long-term, short-term, so you can see especially on Pittsburgh, you do not have a Jenny Malkin because he is currently on injured reserve. Guys that were day-to-day, I included them in the list because day-to-day they can come back at any time, and honest to God, I don't want to be, popping in and out of all these lineups and changing that and slowing things down. So, anybody that's day-to-day is in. Anybody that's coming, supposed to be back or is probable or questionable or things like that for certain games, those guys are going to be included no matter what. The ones that weren't included are injured reserve. Everybody else is in the game, ready to go, and the lineups are current based on the final game that they played, okay? So based on the final game of the regular season, obviously some guys got a rest, so I changed that up a little bit. But for the most part, we're pretty bang on. So what we're going to do is we're going to work our way down the list. We're going to start in the West with the top seed, which is, or the top seed, there's two top seeds. In the one division, we're going to go with Colorado, all right? So on the one side, it's going to be Colorado, Minnesota, and then after that, it'll be St. Louis, Chicago. And what we're going to do is I don't know exactly how the sims work in these games, but I'm going to hopefully do, one series at a time and see how they end up. I've taken control of every team, so odds are we're going to have a couple of games that we're going to need that are going to sim while we do this. So we'll see what happens here in the first one. All right, here we go. So the Colorado-Minnesota game. First up, I'm going to sim the first period, and it's 1-0 Minnesota. So, the underdog has the lead in this series, 1-0 Minnesota. Second period, 3-0 Minnesota. Goals by Koivu and Niederreiter. Third period, and 4-0 Mini. Pominville puts the nail in the coffin, and the mighty Colorado Avalanche have been dropped a peg. So, game one between Colorado and Minnesota is out of the way. Next up, we have to do, it's actually kicking us automatically over. It's going to make us do all of this. You guys are going to get to see the entertainment factor to this. The next game up is Anaheim against Dallas. Number 1 versus number 4 in this round. So let's see how this one goes. All right. So first period, 1-1. Corey Perry scores the first goal of the series. Valeri Nichushkin gets the goal for Dallas. Second period, 2-1. Teemu Selanne, he's playing on, I believe, the fourth line, and he managed to score one on Kari Lehtinen. Third period, 3-2 the final. Tyler Seguin scores for Dallas, but not enough to overcome the mighty Anaheim Ducks. Matt Bolesky with the 3-2 lead goal, and that's the way it finishes. All right. Now it's going to kick us over to the next one. All right, so the next one is actually going to be Chicago. So we're going to sim up to this day. All right, let me just see. Did I skip anybody? That looks like the only one. Yep. So we'll go back to Chicago. Here we go. So Chicago is going to take on St. Louis. This is the number 2 versus number 3 seed in the Western Conference. So here we go. First period of this one. Oh. No goals scored at all. 15-11 were the shots for Chicago. Second period. Still no goals. 24-22 now the shots. And third, 1-0. Patrick Sharp scores the goal on Ryan Miller in a very defensive battle. And just like that, Chicago is up a game in that series. All right, now we're off to Dallas for the next one. Game 2 of this series. Anaheim currently has a lead in this one, all right? So we're going to go to game 2. First period, no goals scored at all. Second, still no goals. Third, 1-1. All right, we're going to get our first game that's going to go to OT. I'm going to go times 8 so we can get a sense. And right off the bat, it's probably Jamie Benn. Yeah, Jamie Benn scores a wrist shot goal. And Dallas now equals the series at 1. All right, next up is the Chicago and St. Louis series. I wonder why we haven't seen the Eastern Conference at all. Brandon Sutter is available to play in the team's next game. So I did turn injuries on for whatever might happen. So Brandon Sutter was playing on where Malkin is. We're going to scratch Malkin, and we're going to put back in Sutter. Oh, shit, I missed him. He's like 83 overall. Sutter. All right. Oh, shit. And, of course, Sutter is going to be on all of these. I may end up giving this up at some point here. And just, holy shit. If this happens a lot, we may just do best lines when it does that. And whatever comes, comes, you know. I don't want to be dinking around with this. Trying to get this sim going. We'll do this once. If it happens again, then we will fix it. Good enough. Best lines. Who gives a shit? All right, so here we go into the Eastern Conference now. Oh, we did miss a game. It did sim a game. I don't know why. But you'll see here that Philly actually lost the first, New York lost the first game to Philly. All right, so we're going to sim this one. All right, so first period, 1-0, Strite scores for Philly. Second period, 1-1, and the third, 3-2, Philadelphia scores. Tiemann and Hall have the goals, haggling with one for New York. It's not enough, and the series is tied up at 1. Okay, now what are we? Who have we missed here? Who plays games on the 19th? A couple teams. We got a few games here on the 19th. Eastern Conference has a few. All right, where were we? We were in Chicago against St. Louis. So we're going to do this one against St. Louis. So first period of this one, no goals. Second, 2-1. Third, and it's 2-2. We go to OT. Second OT. Oh, there you go. St. Louis Magnus PRV scores. And 42-40 with the shots. The series tied at 1. Now, if I find that this is going a little bit too slow, you know what? This might be going a little bit too slow. What I'm going to do is just simulate up to the 30th. You know what? It's entertaining to have that, but you guys want to see the results of this. So what we're going to do is go week by week. Best lines. Best lines. There's going to be a lot of this. We're going to go week by week, and then we'll take a look at everything at the end and see who stopped and, you know, who's still going. All right, so that round is over. So let's take a look at this. Let's see. I know this is not exactly how I pictured it to go, but Stats Central, and we want to go to playoff tree. So the first round, Anaheim defeated Dallas 4-2. In 6 games, they took the series, and they'll advance to the second round. Between Chicago and St. Louis, Chicago ended up beating St. Louis 4-1. In 5 games, they beat them, and they're off to play Anaheim in the second round. Colorado got swept by Minnesota in the first round. Unbelievable. Talk about a disappointing event for the Colorado Avalanche, and their series is shut down. And then San Jose got beat by LA, actually. So that's one of the more interesting matchups of these playoffs, is that one, San Jose and LA. So the fact that that series ended up so, you know, widespread at 4-1 is quite interesting. So the matchups in the Western Conference are going to be Anaheim, Chicago, and LA, Minnesota. On the Eastern Conference, Boston defeats Detroit in 6 games. Tampa Bay sweeps Montreal. Pittsburgh defeats Columbus in 5. And then Philadelphia and New York go the full length, but Philadelphia ends up edging them out by a score, or a final series of 4-3. So, oh, shoot, I forgot to peer offline. RSG made his way into a video. He finally did. Preference, online status. Sorry about this, guys. There you go. Busy. All right, so the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to look like this. Boston playing Tampa and Pittsburgh playing Philadelphia, okay? So that's an interesting series set up right there. Let's take a look at player stats, all right? Who's leading the league and everything? Not Division A. We need playoffs, all playoffs. So for the whole playoffs so far, Corey Perry has the most points. In a total of 6 games played, 11 points. Ryan Getzlaf, his teammate, those two feeding each other, he's got 10. Marian Gaborik at 7. Stamkos at 7. Pominville at 7. Voracek at 6. I'll go to the top 10. Richards at 6. Giroux at 6. Crosby at 6. And Purcell also is at 5. Goals, the goal leader is currently Marian Gaborik and Corey Perry, 5 apiece. Assist leader, Ryan Getzlaf with 7. Corey Perry right behind him with 6. All right, we'll take a look at the goaltenders. See who's leading the league in those categories. Goals against average, Ilya Bryzgalov with a .48, absolutely standing on his head so far. And then quickly behind him would be Tuukka Rask. He's got a 157. Save percentage, the highest save percentage in the game right now is Ilya Bryzgalov, a 98.36. No doubt will come down. And then Tuukka Rask actually at a 95 is the highest save percentage there. I will do the stats this way too. Save percentage, there you go. Ilya Bryzgalov, Tuukka Rask, Corey Crawford, Jonathan Quick, Jimmy Howard, Henrik Lundqvist, Marc-Andre Fleury, and Steve Mason. And then finally, Ilya Bryzgalov, Tuukka Rask, Crawford, Fleury, Mason, Quick, Howard, and Bobrovsky for goals against average. You see the points and wins up there. The goals and assists, it's all the same. And we've got the second round coming up, guys. So things are getting interesting here. Let's see who defeats who in the second round of these playoffs. We'll do best lines. Obviously, all my lines are going to be changed up, but that's okay. Assistant coach, best lines. Okay. Best lines. It's going to come a lot of this because of all these injuries, and I've controlled every team. All right, so this current round is over. Let's take a look at the Stats Central, and we'll take a look back at the playoff tree. Once we get to the finals, then we'll slow things down. So, on the Western Conference, Chicago defeats Anaheim in 7 games. And look at that. Minnesota having a little Cinderella run here. They defeated the Los Angeles Kings in 7 games. So, in the Western Conference Finals, it's going to be the Chicago Blackhawks looking to repeat as Stanley Cup champions and push by the Minnesota Wild, who are having themselves quite a nice little playoff run. On the Eastern Conference, we see Tampa Bay sweep the Boston Bruins. So there you go. The President's Trophy winners knocked off in 4 games straight. And then Pittsburgh is out of the playoffs. Philadelphia knocks them off of their nice little totem pole, nice little standing they had there, their pedestal. And they will move on to play Tampa Bay in the Eastern Conference Finals. So we will not have a rematch of the finals last year with Boston eliminated. It's going to be either Philly and Tampa against either Chicago and Minnesota. We'll see how these playoff series play down. Let's see. I don't want Anaheim. I want somebody that's got games. There we go. So let's simulate past this round, and then when we're in the final... Oh, wait, hold on. Best lines. I got to stop the sim. Edit lines manually. There, let's see if it'll let me do it now. Stop. Okay. That's what we forgot to check was the stats. So, save percentage, Bryzgalov still leads the league at a 9.59. Crawford with a 9.42. Fleury with a 9.41. Bishop 9.36. Quick 9.35. Howard 9.33. Lundqvist 9.32. And Bobrovsky with a 3.1. Goals against average, you'll see Bryzgalov leading the league with a 1.16. Defense is huge for them right now. Wins Crawford, Bishop, they lead with 9. And then points, Getzlaf and Perry, followed by Hossa and Taze. Also up there for Chicago, Kane and Sharp each have 11 points for their team. So Chicago dominating the top 8. But two Anaheim teams lead the league, although they are out of the playoffs. So it's going to be somebody else taking over. Hossa, Taze, Kane, and Sharp likely. Goals, Matt Reed leads the league with 7 goals. Gabrick with 7. Perry with 7. So there's a 3-way tie there, but obviously with Los Angeles and Anaheim being out, Matt Reed has an opportunity here playing Tampa to take over that role. So let's continue this sim. Now that we've gone through that, we'll take a look and see how things finish off here. All right. Patrick Marleau was hurt. Oh, stop. So it looks like... Just do that. It looks like Minnesota beat Chicago, and they're going to play the Tampa Bay Lightnings in the finals. Let's take a look at this. Stat Central, playoff tree. Unbelievable. Yeah, Minnesota beat Chicago in 7 games to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. So Chicago will not repeat as Stanley Cup champions this year. All right. And Tampa beats Philadelphia also in 7 games. So they will go on to the Stanley Cup Finals here. So it's going to be Tampa Bay and Minnesota, if you can believe it or not. Unbelievable little run here. Unbelievable. Take a look at stats really quick. Ilya Bryzgalov, the hero of these playoffs, a 9.54 save percentage and a 1.36 goals against average. Bishop, though, a 9.41 for his save percentage and a 1.58 for his goals against average. So the 2 top goalies in these playoffs are going to be going face-to-face here. All right. For points, Parise and Pominville now lead the league. That's unbelievable. With Chicago knocked off, you can see the 3, 4, and 7, 8 spots filled up by somebody else, and Getzlaf and Perry obviously being dethroned because they have been out for an entire round. If we look at goals, Matt Reed still leads the league. That will change with Zach Parise tied with him, also Patrick Kane. So Zach Parise having a very good little playoff here for his team, and Jason Pominville leads the league in assists, so very good to see that. So we are into the finals, guys. I thought this video would be a little bit slower because I was going to sim a little bit slower, game by game, but you know what? That would have taken a long time, and people want to get to the goods. They want to see the Stanley Cup winner. So, let's simulate up to this day. All Imada's available. So, we're going to sim the game against Tampa Bay. The first period, 1-0 Minnesota. Jason Pominville scores on the power play on Ben Bishop. Second period, 1-0 still the score. We go to the third period. 2-1 the final. Ryan Callahan ties it up, but Matt Molson has the game winner on Ben Bishop. And Minnesota takes the first game by a score of 1-0. All right, we move... Oh, I'm hitting the wrong one. We move on to Game 2. Game 2 in Tampa Bay. First period, 1-1 the score. So Stamkos scores on Brizgalov, and then Heatley on Bishop. Second period, 3-1. Granlund and Koivu both score on Bishop. Granlund's came on the power play. 27-19 are the shots. Tampa Bay in trouble. Third period, 4-2 the final. Kucherov scores for Tampa, but Parise with the insurance marker at 2:04 left in the third period makes sure that the Tampa Bay Lightning can't catch up, and he increases his lead on the league top goals. It goes 4. All right, this one's coming down to Minnesota. Obviously the underdog in this one. Game 3, first period, 1-0 Mini. Mikko Koivu scores on Ben Bishop. Second period, 2-1. There you go. Tampa Bay, Purcell and Kucherov. Finally a response from the sleeping Tampa Bay. Third period, and 3-1 the final. Kucherov has a 2-goal game, 3 goals in his last 2 games. Nikita Kucherov having an absolutely phenomenal game, pulls Tampa Bay within 1 of this series. Feels like I'm doing a Be a GM. All right, Game 4, this one also in Minnesota. First period, no goals scored in this one. A slight edge on the shot clock to Tampa. Second period, 1-0. Taylor Pyatt scores for Tampa, and we go to the third period, up 1 goal. Shots are even. 3-0. Malone scores on Brizgalov, and Stamkos gets the empty netter with 29 seconds left in the third period just to give themselves some insurance. And this series now tied at 2 as we head back to Tampa. It's interesting, though, in this series, the wins have come on the road for both teams. So we go to Game 5, first period. 1-0 Tampa. Stamkos scores against Brizgalov. Second, still 1-0 for Tampa. We go to the third. Tampa Bay being outshot by 9 at the moment. Third period, 4-1. Oh my God, Kucherov with a 2-goal third period. Matt Molson gets 1, but it's not enough. Filppula with the empty netter insurance marker with exactly a minute left to go in the game. And all of a sudden, the Tampa Bay Lightning are within 1 game of their second Stanley Cup. And will they do it on the road? First period, 1-0 Minnesota. Nino Niederreiter scores. Second period, 1-1 Valtteri Filppula. We're going to go ×4. We're going to slow this thing down. 1-1 the score right now. Who's going to come out? Is Minnesota going to push Game 7, or is Tampa Bay going to take... Oh, there's a goal by Minnesota. Cody McCormack scores, and it's 2-1 Minnesota. All right, they're putting a fight in here. Shots are well in the favor of the Minnesota Wild, as it has been the entire playoff here on their Cinderella run. A minute left in the third, and that is it. Minnesota is going to force Game 7 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we have ourselves in for a treat. Who cares if Hal Gill's ready? Game 7, this one is in Tampa. First period, 1-0 Tampa Bay. All right, Teddy Purcell scores on Ilya Brizgalov. They're going to start the second with a power play. Second period, 2-0. Tampa now has a nice lead. 2-0. Victor Hedman scores on the power play. We're going to go ×4 here. That's 30-second increments. Power play for Minnesota. They can't do it. Another power play. They score. Zach Parise, the playoff leader, gets the goal. They're within 1. It's not out of reach quite yet. Third period winding down. I'm going to jump in here so we can watch. Well, let me go. You've not chosen a side. Yes, we want to watch this. We're going to get in there and watch and see exactly what happens here. See if perhaps the Minnesota Wild can come back and win this one with 42 seconds. We aren't going to choose a side. What I'm going to do is at the very end choose a side so you guys can be entertained by the outro video that occurs in this game. Obviously, because it's if you don't choose a side, what happens is it'll just give you a short version, but I want to give you guys the full version. So we'll let them see what goes on here. So it's perspective of the Minnesota Wild because that's the team I was choosing. So let's see what happens here. You know what? I said this in my video, but let's turn this to broadcast. custom camera. Oh, no. Oh, what? You can set your... Hold on. That might be something we can do in the future. Settings. We need to go visual settings. Visual settings. We need to go to camera broadcast. Oh, true broadcast? True broadcast. That's the only one. That's the one that pivots. So we can watch the rest of this game. And here we go. The Tampa Bay Lightning have the puck. Eric Brewer is going to move it through center. And he finds a spot, takes a shot, and there's a big save there by Ilya Bryzgalov. Oh, it looks like a power play is going to be coming for Minnesota. An opportunity to tie this game up. Here we go. Brodziak tries to drive it, and there's a touch puck by Palat. And it's a 5-minute major against Minnesota. Not that it matters. Or against Tampa Bay. Not that it matters. But they'll have an opportunity here to maybe pot one. And then if this game goes into overtime, we're going to have the opportunity for at least another one. So Andre Palat is out of this game for checking from behind. Granlund to take the face-off here to the left of Ben Bishop. Face-off is won by Tampa. Ryan Callahan's going to dump the puck all the way down the ice. And Minnesota will go back and retrieve with the empty net. Brodin's going to shovel it around with pressure coming. Heatley. Oh, and he turns it over. Stamkos with the puck behind the net. He gets tied up by 2. Minnesota Wild with 3 right by. Back to the point. Shot, scores! Victor Hedman puts the nail in the coffin. And it looks like Tampa Bay is going to win the Stanley Cup for the second time in their franchise history. Last time that they won it was back in 2004. They defeated the Calgary Flames in 7 games. I know, questionable call at one point, but they still won the Stanley Cup regardless. It had nothing to do with Tampa, everything to do with some poor officiating. Anyway, so there you go. It looks like Tampa's going to win it, guys, so they're going to be my prediction for the Stanley Cup. We'll see. I'm actually going to pause this, and we'll go, well, we'll let it go a little bit more, and then I'll choose a side. Like maybe 5 seconds. I don't think anything's going to happen. Why is Palat back? Out of curiosity. There we go. I'm going to change it now. Settings. We're going to go to select sides. Tampa. Yes. That's fine. All right, we'll leave it on broadcast. I've never actually played with it on broadcast before. Oh, there's a big hit by Filppula. Filppula. And that's it. Game is over. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup in 7 games. They're my prediction to win for this year based on EA. And EA thinks that Tampa Bay will take the cup. Unbelievable. But more unbelievable than the fact that Tampa Bay won the Stanley Cup is that Minnesota defeated some of the best teams in the NHL. The NHL. The Western Conference was so jam-packed with elite teams. The fact that they beat them and made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, including sweeping the Colorado Avalanche, is unbelievable to me. The Minnesota Wild are truly the heroes of this one. They remind me a lot of the Edmonton Oilers back in 2006. Their Cinderella run they had came up 1 short in Game 7. Actually, it was a 3-1 final then as well. So perhaps there's some similarities to be drawn here. You see that, was it Bishop? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I think Bishop won the Conn Smythe, but we will take a look at the end of this. The Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning, for the first time in Steven Stamkos' career, he is going to lift the Stanley Cup high above over his head. Let's see, here he comes out. Beautiful. Oh, Steven Stamkos, you blonde son of a bitch. That's an ugly, that doesn't look anything like ugly Gary Bettman. This guy's way too good looking to be Bettman. Yeah, Steven Stamkos wins the cup. We're used to seeing this in my BGM, but not used to seeing it with Stamkos holding the cup. It's Jonathan Drouin. Who's this here? Who's this? Thompson? Nate Thompson? Did I see that right? Ryan Callahan gets traded from Tampa Bay, or traded to Tampa Bay from New York, and he wins himself a cup. Good for him. Good deal for Tampa Bay, by the way. They came out like bandits on that one. Eric Brewer wins himself a cup. Ben Bishop, yeah, he won. Ben Bishop gets to lift the cup over his head, and then the famous photo that you guys are going to be seeing in the real NHL when my town... Actually, you know, the funny thing is, Tampa Bay is my favorite American team. I guess I'd make them my second favorite team behind Edmonton, so if I had to choose one, it would be them. So the fact that they win this is actually good for me. I'm happy. I'm happy. And if they actually win the Stanley Cup again, I would be ecstatic. I'm actually going to be in around the Florida area in the middle of May, so I'm hoping to possibly catch a playoff game depending on how far Tampa goes. They need to beat Montreal first, though. Hopefully they can do it like they did in this one. So 3-1 the final. The 3 stars in the Stanley Cup game go to Victor Hedman with 2 goals, Steven Stamkos with 3 assists, and Ilya Bryzgalov posting a .944 save percentage, facing 37 shots in this game, only letting in 3. That's not 2, sorry. He only let in 2. All right, we'll do a wrap-up here. Save percentage, Ilya Bryzgalov, number 1 in that and goals against average. Bishop, though, close behind with goals against average and save percentage as well. Wins, Bishop gets his 16th win in the playoffs, and that's enough. Minnesota's Pominville and Zach Parise both get 22 points. Stamkos with 20 himself. Ryan Callahan with 17. You'll also see back there Teddy Purcell with 16. Goals, Kucherov and Stamkos both had 9. Purcell had 8. Filipil had 7. But Parise with 10 goals on the playoffs, he will take that. And then Pominville with the most assists with 17. All right, guys, I'll take a look at stats. There's going to be some awards. No, there's going to be no awards. So the only ones we know, obviously, are the Stanley Cup, which it doesn't really matter about that. The Stanley Cup was won by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Conn Smythe goes to Ben Bishop if the Tampa Bay Lightning win that Stanley Cup. So EA has predicted it, guys. You might as well be the word of God. So we'll see how things happen with the real NHL when games start tonight. Don't forget to tune in to watch your favorite teams. Who's playing tonight? We got Tampa Bay and Montreal playing tonight. We've also got Anaheim and Dallas. And that's it for tonight. The rest of the series go tomorrow. Actually, Boston and Detroit don't get started till Friday. So make sure you tune in and watch all the hockey you can. That's the best part about playoff action, is it's on every single night for the first round. So enjoy the cornucopia of games, and let's see how closely in relation to the real NHL my simulation came. I'll leave it at that. For those of you that haven't watched me before, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and leave a comment on this video. For those of you that do know me, good to see you back. Follow me on Twitter at TargetOdd18. I'm always on there tweeting you guys having a good time. So until next time, I'm Target Audience, and I'll catch you guys out on the ice.